And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the show. We do not have Thursday night football, but that's okay. We've got plenty of time to answer your questions, your starts, and your sits and whatnot on fantasy football today here on Twitch. I'm Adam Azer, joined by Frank Stanfill and Chris Towers. Look at this Twitch poll we have. Have you clinched a playoff spot yet? And so far, nobody has said I am out. But how about you guys? What's your playoff situation looking like? How big is week 13 for you?
I think I'm only out of the playoffs in one of my 11 leagues. I got a bye in the Scott Fish Bowl. I got a bye in one of my 3 home leagues. The other 2, one doesn't start until week 15, so we don't have to worry about that one. But I'm in the playoffs. I'm locked in. And the other one, if I win this week, I make the playoffs at 6-7 with a team that I literally sold all of my starting lineup after like week 4, and I may make the playoffs.
Hey, all right. Good year for you,
incredible. Huh? It's been like, I'm usually bad at this and you should never listen to my advice, but this year has been the one exception.
Okay. Well, that's good. Great thing to say at the beginning of our show. Frank, how's it going? How about you?
It's going all right. Not nearly as good as Chris Towers, though, so I think I should start listening to Chris a little bit more. I think I have only clinched the playoffs in 3 of my 8 leagues, so that's not really a great ratio.
How about this? I've got 7 leagues that I pay. I pay attention to all them, but 7 leagues that are against like.
That's a good thing to admit.
And no, just 7 leagues that I kind of prioritize. There are the ones that are against the other analysts. 6 of them are on CBS, and there's one flex. I know I haven't clinched a playoff spot in any of them. I don't think I've been eliminated in any of them. This week is the most important week of my fantasy football life. I could go, I have a couple leagues where it's probably not going to happen, but I'm still alive. But I could go, I can make it in all 7. I can miss it in all 7. It's incredible how right 6th and 7th place I am in like so many of these leagues. And even one league I'm in like 4th and I could fall out of it. So it's a big week, some big decisions to be made. I kind of feel like it's an easy week though, in terms of start or sit. I don't know why I'm looking at it and I just don't see that many tough calls as usual personally.
Are your leagues like mine where there's just way more people in the playoff hunt this year than normal?
Oh, yeah. Our podcast league, 10 of the 14 teams are 6-6.
Yeah.
Or 7-5 or something like that.
Yeah, it is like in one of my leagues, it's 14 team, 8 teams make the playoffs. There is going to be at least 2, possibly as many as 4 playoff teams who are under 500. But yeah, I think all but 3 teams have been eliminated. Or all but 3 teams are still alive, and there are 4 playoff spots up for grabs in the last week.
Well, enough about it. That is wild, and I'm seeing it too. Yeah, enough about us. Let's get to the viewers here on Twitch. Thank you for joining us. Let me read some of your questions here. All right, Crazy Bayesian needs us to pick 2 running backs and a quarterback and a flex. Alvin Kamara, Raheem Mostert, the Texans starting running back, Myles Gaskin. All right, so pick 2 of those. Kamara, Mostert, Texans running back, and Gaskin.
I think we have to see what's going on with Kamara because he's a little banged up. He's dealing with this injury. Excuse me.
He's playing through it, though.
He is. Mostert for sure, and I would say Kamara.
Yeah, I would expect Gaskin's going to be eased in a little bit. I was reading one of the Dolphins beat reporters who said that they expect it to be a Salvon Ahmed and Myles Gaskin split once they're both healthy, which could be this week. Ahmed was limited in practice yesterday. I don't know about today.
Yeah, we don't want that. Okay, the split, I mean. And then pick a quarterback, Justin Herbert or Lamar Jackson.
Super close. I have Justin Herbert 1 spot higher.
I think that makes sense.
And pick a flex between the Texans starting running back, whichever Johnson it is, Gaskin, Jarvis Landry, and Corey Davis.
I think it's got to be Landry.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He's got like a 29% target share since the Odell Beckham injury. And I just want to, about Kamara, I think part of the reason he's had limited usage the last couple of weeks is because of the injury. I think part of it is also that they just like haven't had to play a real game yet with Taysom Hill starting. Right. I think they are going to get a game this week. I think they probably lose. So I don't think they'll have the.
They're picking the upset.
I don't think this Taysom Hill offense is going to work in a real game. And you have to imagine the Falcons are going to be better prepared than they were last time.
This team.
Right, but you usually don't blow out a team twice in a row. The Falcons defense was much better against the Broncos. And they should, or not, the Falcons defense was much better against the Raiders. And I'm hopeful Julio Jones is back. So I think this is going to be a game. I think the Falcons win. And I think Alvin Kamara, after 2 games below 50% snap share, is above 60% this week.
See, what you just said about Julio Jones, those will worry me because he did not practice today. So I'm not as optimistic. But we actually have 2 pretty good defenses here, believe it or not. The Saints have won 8 in a row. They've held 4 straight teams to 13 or fewer points. The Falcons are 4-2 under Raheem Morris. And no team has scored more than 27 points. Only 1 team has scored more than 24 points. That might sound like a lot, but 18 teams are averaging 24 or more points this year. So that's really not bad. Maybe it's a stretch to call them a good defense, but they're not a bad defense anymore. Yeah. They're not this great matchup. And their run defense is outstanding. These are 2 of the best run defenses in football, which makes it a little worrisome for Kamara. But I think he's around 10th in the rankings for Dave, Jamie, and Heath. Where do you have him, Frank?
I have him in a similar range, and I will pull that up for you. I have him at number 10.
Cool. All right, let me catch up on some questions here so I don't fall all the way behind. Pineapples wants to know, should I drop Jimmy Graham for Trey Burton or Jordan Reed?
I like Trey Burton. I like what
I think Burton's probably the play.
Okay. Okay. Half from Julio, half point PPR, pick one. D. Johnson or Raheem Mostert? Come on now.
Well, no, I mean, that's fair.
It could be Deontay.
I got some Deontay hot takes too. If we want to go into that a little later.
I know the analytics community hates Deontay Johnson.
I mean, I don't speak for anyone but myself. If it is Deontay Johnson, who was it? Deontay Johnson versus Mostert?
Yeah.
It's Deontay if it's Deontay. And it's Mostert if it's one of the other 2 D Johnsons.
I will take Mostert regardless of which Johnson it is.
I hope they use both Johnsons at the same time now that they're missing all of their wide receivers. Like, this was a thing that they talked about in training camp, using Duke and David on the field at the same time. They've barely done it. They don't throw to their running backs at all. Kiki QT is not good. Isaiah Coulter, I don't think, has seen the field. Like, let's get these running backs involved in the passing game, please.
Brandon Cooks, 20 targets this week.
From Brent the Jersey King. Do I risk it with Lamar or play the safer floor with Kirk Cousins or Mitchell Trubisky?
No, I would use Lamar in that spot.
Yeah.
I mean, Cousins, it doesn't get much better. Let me just get my Kirk Cousins up. My notes here on Kirk Cousins. But Jacksonville, 3rd most fantasy points to quarterbacks, 27 or more fantasy points from 6 of 11 quarterbacks. Only one of them threw more than 35 passes, 2 of them threw 25 or fewer. So you don't even need to throw a lot. They give up the most yards per attempt. Cousins should be good, but they could always get a 20 pass game from Cousins. You never know. All right, we're going with Lamar Jackson there. Let's see, from Matt V. Austin Eckler, David Montgomery, Raheem Mostert, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, DeAndre Swift. That's 5 names. Pick 3 in standard scoring. Eckler, Montgomery, Mostert, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, DeAndre Swift.
Eckler, Monty, and Swift.
Yeah, if Swift plays. That's the question. It's not a guarantee.
Yeah, this quote from AP that just came out it's pretty scary, actually.
Yeah.
So I didn't see that.
Saying that DeAndre Swift just hasn't. Well, you want to read the quote, Frank? He hasn't been himself. He's kind of in a fog or something.
Well, I mean, you look at like David Johnson. A lot of guys will come back. They'll have a concussion on Sunday and be cleared by Thursday. But David Johnson missed 3 weeks. Adam Humphries for the Titans, I think it's been 4 weeks and counting. He was finally back at practice as a full participant yesterday. That's the scary thing about concussions. It's not like you can just say, well, he has a grade 1 ankle sprain, so he'll miss 1 to 2 weeks. You don't know how the person's going to react. It depends on their history, the nature of the injury, and a ton of other factors that you can't really quantify. And so, you just have to wait until he's cleared. And it's the kind of situation where you can't just say, oh, I think he'll be back this week. We just don't know.
Yeah, Peterson said exactly that DeAndre Swift hasn't had, quote, the same energy level since suffering the concussion, and that, quote, it's been hard to watch. So, it affects everybody differently. And even if we get Swift on the field, is he going to be the same Swift we saw a couple of weeks ago when it looked like he was about to take over? Don't really know for sure.
All right. Let's see. This is from It's Wordplay. Oh, no, that's a question that he posed to another Twitch chatter. From Fitty Pitties. Pick 2 in PPR. Josh Jacobs, Ezekiel Elliott, Kenyon Drake, Miles Sanders, and Duke Johnson. Bunch of running backs I don't love for the most part here. Pick 2 in PPR. Josh Jacobs, Zeke, Drake, Sanders, and Duke Johnson.
I will go with Sanders and Jacobs, assuming he plays. If Jacobs doesn't play, I would go with Sanders and Zeke.
Yep. Oh, by the way, DeAndre Swift is out of the concussion protocol now, but he did not practice Thursday because of illness, but it's not related to COVID.
Okay. All right. Fingers crossed. Want to see him get back out there. From Hotspur, Jamison Crowder or Tim Patrick, PPR?
Oh, gosh. Jamison Crowder has just fallen off the face of the earth.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Patrick.
Yeah, they're going to be playing from behind, but it's a really tough matchup.
For the record, I agree. But for the record, this is when Jamison Crowder has 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, when he gets started in 15% of leagues. Recall the Baltimore game on Thursday night last year.
Yeah, there's just no way of knowing if that role is going to come back for him because the snaps haven't been there either.
It'll come back, but it'll come back when everyone gives up on him. That's what has to happen for him
this week.
He's the worst, the most frustrating. Oh, if you heard the podcast today, I already went on this rant. He's the most frustrating player. Ugh. And he's good, but not in a way that helps fantasy managers a lot of times. Let's see. From J.M. Bernheisel. Will Christian McCaffrey be benched for the season since the Panthers aren't contenders for a playoff spot?
No. He'll be out there in week 14.
How weird is it that it's week 13 and so much is on the line and Christian McCaffrey, he's on bye. It's just so weird that those two teams are on bye this week.
Yeah.
And part of the reason why I've had such little success in fantasy this year, I had the first pick in 3 of my drafts. And it is the one year that I get Christian McCaffrey in 3 different leagues. And those are probably my 3 worst teams.
I do want to point out, former FFT guy and friend of the pod, Ben Gretsch, I believe he's top 10 in Scott Fishbowl out of 1,440 people, and he had Christian McCaffrey. He had the first pick.
Wow.
That is wild.
Good for him, man.
Yeah.
From Jared, I'm locked in the playoffs. I have 1 roster move left. Is Cam Akers worth it? My running backs are Carson, Zeke, Mostert, and Fournette. 1 roster move. No, I'm going to say no. And I'll tell you why, because throughout the fantasy playoffs, it's going to happen maybe every week. There's going to be that Devontae Booker available that you're going to want, there's going to be the Mike Boone.
Yeah. It's not a pressing need right now.
Right.
And Akers is no sure thing. I look at him like I look at Alexander Mattison, Tony Pollard, Leonard Fournette, Le'Veon Bell as those high upside handcuffs. I think that's what he is.
I think he's probably more than that, but at the same time, he played less than 30% of the snaps last week. So
yeah,
it is hard to get excited about him.
He's a handcuff that, unlike Madison, what's that?
You could use as a flex.
Well, I was going to say I'm not using him until I see more of a role, but I actually think I'm going to start him this week in PPR league over J.D. McKissick, but just hope for a touchdown or something. He has the chance to become the starter. Madison and Pollard don't really have that chance. Barring injury, so Akers does have that. From G. Kozak, is Travis Fulgham droppable for someone on the waiver wire?
Yes.
From CKX Voltage, should I drop Sammy Watkins for Deebo Samuel?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
From
By the way, Debo did not practice today, but I believe it's just a rest thing.
Okay. Yeah, he's an old guy. Give him some rest. Second year. Let's we got a new question here. Orf Jacks. I have Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, and Giovanni Bernard. Who should I drop to add Dobbins or Snell?
Gio.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Who would you add, Dobbins or Snell? We don't know about
Dobbins.
Yet. Dobbins?
Dobbins for sure.
Okay. Steeltown, 1976. I need 2 flex in PPR. Kenyon Drake, Wayne Gallman, Brandon Ayuk, James White. Drake, Gallman, Ayuk, and White.
It's down to either White or Gallman. I think I lean White.
I would go with Drake and Gallman.
Drake was your guy, Chris?
Yeah, Drake is, yeah. Ayuk, you just don't know what the role is going to be.
I guess. I mean, do you guys like Kenyon Drake this week? Because I think he's the best in that group, but I don't really like him.
I think you just kind of have to like him based on his workload the past couple of weeks. It's obviously a terrible matchup against the Rams. They've really kind of been tougher on running backs as of late, but man, 25 touches for Drake last week, and since he's returned in Week 10, he has 17 red zone opportunities, which is just insane.
And that it helps that Kyler Murray isn't running as much because he was the red zone guy. You're hoping, you're expecting 50 yards. You're hoping for 70 yards and a touchdown.
In their last 7 games, the Rams have not allowed more than 10 non-PPR or 12 PPR fantasy points. They haven't faced the toughest running backs there. I think they had there have been 5 running backs with 15 or more carries against the Rams. 4 of them have scored. So that's the good news. So, okay, moving on. From ZB World, is this going to be a breakout week for Jonathan Taylor? What do you think, guys?
It should be, right? We've been waiting a while, and we said that going into the Packer game, and it actually was. So it was a good matchup there, and this is the best possible matchup that you can have for a running back, or one of them. And before he had been put on the COVID list, it looked like he was starting to break out. So, yeah, he's inside my top 12 this week, which is aggressive.
Cool. By the way, I haven't mentioned this, but we are on at 4 p.m. Eastern for the Lowe's home team watch party on Sunday. It's Packers and Eagles. Jordy Nelson and Brian Westbrook are joining the show. If they come on at the same time, I can call them Jordy Westbrook. But if not, it'll be Jordy Nelson and Brian Westbrook, legends for their teams. They're going to.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I thought you were going to mention Josh Gordon.
Josh Gordon is now eligible for the last 2 games of the season. So that will not really have a big fantasy impact, which is good. But also good to have him back. Hope he can make a good recovery and get back out there and be a productive player. Maybe it'd be good for Russell Wilson. So, yeah, join us on Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern for the home team watch party presented by Lowe's. Sunday, noon Eastern for Start or Sit. And if you're watching our show right now on Twitch Sports, come on over to the FF Today channel. Ask us some questions. That's where I'm getting the questions and reading them on the show. I'm going to scroll down and get some newer ones. So if I skipped you, you can feel free to ask again, but not again and again and again and again, please. From Gambino, PPR League, Ruggs, Emmanuel Sanders, Tyler Boyd, shaking my head.
I will... I'll take the long shot on Ruggs.
Yeah, Boyd is safer, but there's not much upside there. Ruggs, if Nelson Aguilar doesn't play, and he did miss practice yesterday with an ankle injury, he could have a bigger role, and they talked about getting him more involved.
Oh my gosh, the Jets are the worst. They have allowed 96 or more yards to 6 wide receivers in their last 5 games.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah. From C. Cress, I feel like we answered this. No, I don't think so. Full PPR start 2. Mostert, Sanders, Zeke, and Gibson. Mostert, Sanders, Zeke, Gibson. Start 2.
Miles Sanders, presumably.
Yeah.
Mostert, Sanders, Zeke, and Gibson.
Sitting Zeke.
Yeah, you're starting 2. I think it's Sanders and Gibson.
Yeah, that's
that matchup against Pittsburgh.
But, these guys are all bunched up together. I love this matchup for Sanders, but it's how can you be confident with the way that the Eagles' offensive line and just their offense in general is playing right now. It's tough, but it's just such a great matchup for Sanders.
So what's your answer, guys? Sanders and Gibson?
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, Adam, I'm looking at the chat. I think you've been mispronouncing Crazy Bayesian.
Oh, really?
I just saw how it's spelled. I think that's Bayesian. I think that's like a math joke.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't feel bad about not knowing that.
Just pointing it out, just trying to be helpful.
Isn't there like a Crazy Rich Asians or something?
Yeah, but it's not spelled that way.
No, but I thought maybe it was a play on that.
He said it's a math joke. I'm so smart. I don't know what it means, but I know it's a math thing. I know it's a thing that smart math people say.
Oh, that's definitely not me.
Me neither.
Bayesian inference is a method of statistical inference, which Bayes' theorem
Yes.
is used. Oh, of course, Bayes' theorem.
Yeah, Bayes' theorem. Come on, Adam.
Okay.
Smarten up.
Right. Yeah. So let's get back to something. Well, I was going to say something I can do well, but that's certainly not reading Twitch handles. Wine Connor says, I have Jacobs, James Robinson, and David Montgomery. Who should I bench? Jacobs, James Robinson, or Montgomery?
I will bench Jacobs there.
I think it would be Montgomery for me.
Chris, haven't you been like pounding the table for David Montgomery all season? Now he's
right, but like
probably the best setup for him all year.
It's a very low table, you know. I feel like if he wasn't coming off a 140-yard game with a garbage time touchdown, we would not be as excited. And like nothing has fundamentally changed for David Montgomery. He hasn't been good against good matchups before. I like him as a number 2 running back.
He's had a pretty tough schedule, in fairness to him, and he did have a good matchup last week, and it was great. I am worried about Jacobs not being 100%, as
Sure.
Wine Connor said, but he runs so much. They've won 6 games. He has 21 or more carries in 5 of those wins, and they're 8.5-point favorites. It's tough.
And the Jets have been tough. I have this stat. They have allowed only one running back over 49 rushing yards since week 7.
Yeah. If you look into that, though, they haven't been that bad against the run, but they also have faced a lot of committees.
Yeah.
They haven't had like a guy get more than like 13 carries for the most part. But no, they are not a layup matchup. They are not the Lions. That's for sure. All right, from Wes Cameron, should I drop T. Higgins in a 10-team half PPR league for a backup DST in the playoffs? I have Tyreek Hill, Michael Thomas, Deebo Samuel, and I have the Saints DST. Should I drop T. Higgins for a DST?
I don't think you're going to start T. Higgins in a 10-team league the rest of the season.
That's probably fair. But I wish that this person's wide receivers were better to do it. Like if they had a little bit more depth, but I'm all right with it. It's fine.
Yeah, and look, the Saints get the Chiefs in week 15. Wow, what a freaking game that's going to be.
Yeah.
And you're probably
hopefully
not going to start there. Yeah, please come back, Drew Brees.
Yes.
Okay, from I'm not gonna try to pronounce it. Chris has made me so self-conscious that every single one of these Twitch handles is a math equation.
I'm sorry, I'm just so much more smarter than you, Adam.
This one is from Algebra. Did I say that right? Yeah, this is
perfect.
Stoichia, no me, I don't know. Gibson or Mostert, PPR.
Oh,
I really want to go with Mostert.
Let's go with Gibson.
Everybody's on Gibson. I get it, but different when they lose. He's so much different.
There's a lot unsustainable about Antonio Gibson so far this season. Like I like him a lot. I think he's really talented. I'm super happy I have him on a couple keeper leagues, but like I think he leads the NFL in touchdown rate by a wide margin. I think it's like 1 touchdown every 12 carries or something like that. The big thing is, were the targets last week real? Like, is he really just their guy now, or was it just 1 week and he's going to go back to, because he hadn't played more snaps than McKissick in like 3 weeks, I think.
Well, they've won 2 in a row. Yeah. I think that his stats are pretty sustainable in their wins because they ride him and he's good. But in their losses, he's typically getting about 13 carries. And 13 carries against Pittsburgh is not good. Pittsburgh also gives up the fewest or the second fewest receiving yards to running backs. So they're really good at that. And last week, who did they face last week? The Cowboys, right? The Cowboys are good at that too. And he had 5 catches for 20 yards. So I could see him not having a bunch of receiving. I don't know. I think it's gutsy, especially in PPR. But I would start Mostert over Gibson. Totally understand if you would not, though. One thing that we should know is, like, Jeff Wilson had about as many carries as Mostert last week. So,
yeah, like as good as Mostert was, and I like him this week. I have him as a high-end RB2. He only played 40% of the snaps last week. So
yeah, no, it makes me a little nervous.
We got to keep that in mind.
Bills are horrible, though.
The line for this Washington Steelers game is very weird, too. Washington is 8.5-point dogs on a short week for the Steelers. I understand, like, yeah, the Steelers are undefeated, but that line seems pretty high. I think the game is closer than that.
It's a mega long week, too, for Washington.
Yeah.
Okay, from Roggy 126. I have to drop one. There's no way that's pronounced that way. Sorry. Antonio Brown or T. Higgins? Who do I drop?
Either.
Drop both.
I mean, it would be perfectly fine to drop both. If you're only going to drop one, I would say you should probably drop Antonio Brown because there's definitely no way he's getting points this week. But I don't know. Maybe Brown has more upside if they figure it out, I guess, in that offense, whereas Higgins is probably going to be really bad the rest of the season. It's hard to see it being good.
Yeah, I'll drop Higgins there.
Yeah, I guess.
But it's close.
Yeah,
Antonio Brown. So he's had 4 games, and he's had 13 PPR fantasy points in 2 of them. And he's had 3 to 6 in 2 of them. But if he gets 13 PPR fantasy points, I imagine it's going to be tough for Higgins to do that most weeks unless he scores. So I'd keep Brown.
I'm just a little worried that they're just going to, like, oh, this isn't really working. There's not really any reason to throw it to this 32-year-old guy who just joined the team. We have Chris Godwin and Mike Evans.
Could be. From Matt V. Ridley, A.J. Brown, Adam Thielen, pick 2. Standard scoring. Ridley, A.J. Brown, Adam Thielen. I hate these.
I will bench Ridley even if Julio is out.
I think that's probably the right way to go. The thing with Thielen is because of his style of play, because it's all downfield play action targets in a low volume offense, he's probably only going to get like 8 targets at the most this week. And he really, like, you need him to hit, and he probably will. But he's definitely less of a sure thing, I think, than Ridley.
Yeah, he has the lowest floor. He also has the 3rd most. He's tied with Calvin Ridley. They both have the 3rd most targets inside the 10-yard line this year. Thielen has 14 red zone targets. I don't think anyone else on Minnesota has more than 6. So he gets that. Yeah, Justin Jefferson is second with 6.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson doesn't get targeted in the red zone because he scores from 60 yards out.
He's 4th in the NFL in yards per catch. From Marinucci, half PPR, can you rank Kenyon Drake, Deontay Johnson, Benny Snell, and Tyler Lockett? Drake, Deontay, Benny Snell, Tyler Lockett.
Let's go with
Deontay 1 for me.
I think I would go Deontay and Lockett.
If Connor's out, I think I'd start Snell over Lockett. I really don't know what to expect from the Giants defense. It's been pretty good, but this is by far the toughest challenge they're going to have.
Yeah.
But Lockett has been crap for like 5 of his last 7 games or something like that.
He's a boomer bust wide receiver too now.
It's really a shame. Yeah, I don't know. Snell had 16 carries last week. I'd take that. All right, what do you got? I say Deontay and Snell. Frank, what do you say?
I would go with Lockett and Deontay.
Okay. From, let's see here. Get some new ones. Show me the Benjamins. Pick 1 quarterback. Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers, or Mitchell Trubisky.
I wish I could say Rivers. But that toe is a little scary.
I'll say Matt Ryan if Julio Jones plays. If he doesn't, I'll go with Trubisky.
I think that's fair.
Pick one wide receiver, non-PPR. Debo, Aguilar, Marquise Brown, Allen Lazard, Corey Davis.
Debo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, though. If Mark Andrews is out again, especially if Snead is also out, it's going to be hard. And, like, let's say Lamar Jackson's back and Marquise Brown is, like, the only guy left standing. That would be tough to sit.
Man, I mean, he needs to break a big play.
Not if Lamar Jackson's back. I think Jackson will do a lot better than McSorley / RG3.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think he will, but the connection between them has been really bad this season. I just think that's kind of his nature, though, like Tyler Lockett, except he's like a lower end version of that Tyler Lockett, Adam Thielen archetype, where you probably need him to hit on a big play to be a good fantasy option.
This is from Hotspur 12. Pick 2 in full PPR. Blake Snell,
Blake Snell.
Benny Snell, Cam Akers, J.D. McKissick, and Jamison Crowder.
Pick 2?
Yeah.
Snell if he starts for sure. That's the easy call if Connor's out.
Yep.
After that, who was the second name?
Akers, McKissick, and Crowder.
You said it was PPR, right?
I did.
Yeah, I guess McKissick.
Yeah, I would go McKissick, Crowder, Akers, I think.
Okay.
I don't feel
All right.
about it.
All right. If you're just joining us, welcome. We're here till 5:30. We got another hour of fantasy football advice. Got a lot of people here, so must be a big week for all of you. And no Thursday night game, but still a great time to talk fantasy football. If you're watching on Twitch Sports, come on over to the Fantasy Football Today channel, FF Today. Join us here and ask us some questions. This is from Gambino. I need 4 out of 6, it looks like. So let's bench 2. Robert Woods, Deebo Samuel, Davis, Jefferson, Pittman, and Mooney. I was like, Mike Davis? No, Corey Davis. Okay, so Woods, Deebo, Corey Davis, Jefferson, Pittman, Mooney. We're obviously sitting Mooney. Who else are we sitting? Woods, Deebo, Davis, Jefferson, Pittman. Pittman, I think, right?
Yeah.
You're sitting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty close with Corey Davis, though. No
Yeah.
Bradley Roby now for the Texans.
Comes down to that. Yep.
I just like Pittman is playing the most snaps and running the most routes on the Colts roster, and they haven't thrown him the ball for the last, really game and a half. He had 3 targets in the first half in week 11, none after that, and then 3 yesterday or 3 this week, last week.
I will start Corey Davis, but it is super close. He's been very consistent. I think it's 67 yards or a touchdown in 8 of the 9 games he's played.
It's 10 or more PPR fantasy points in 8 of 9 games. So it's a solid, look, you don't want 10 points in PPR. You want more than that, but it's a good floor. Okay. Are we done here? Moving on. Next question.
Yes.
Okay, great. T. Doyle, 6 point per passing touchdown. Ben, Fitz, Taysom.
I will go with Fitz.
I think I would go with.
If he's the quarterback.
It doesn't seem like he will be. I think I would go with Hill.
What if he is? What if Fitz is in?
Then Fitz.
I would start Roethlisberger over Hill, I think, in a 4 point per passing touchdown league. In a 6 point, which it is. Nobody's going Ben here?
I have him third of the 3.
Okay, fine, Frank. Just asking. Am I Rambell 23? Oh, that's funny. Okay. I should read the questions before I read the names because this wasn't even a question, but good reference to the podcast today. Crazy Bayesian, Bays, Raiders, Vikings, or Bears?
Raiders, Vikings, or Bears? DST, I assume?
No, just who's your favorite team? Best colors.
All right, so I think I would go with the
Vikings definitely have the best jerseys.
Yeah, I would.
Purple and gold, that's nice. Purple and gold is nice.
I think I'd go with the Vikings for the defense as well.
I really don't like the Colts jerseys. I don't like anything about them. Just saying, they're boring.
So this like, there's this like, over the last like 10 years or so, those NFL jerseys have gotten a lot smaller and stretchier, and the Colts look especially bad. It's a really bad look. Like, I get why they do this. Like, have you ever seen like the new football jerseys when they're not in pads? They're like this big, and then they stretch them out. And the names on the Colts jerseys always look messed up. Don't like it.
I didn't notice that. I just don't like their jerseys. I don't like them
That's
one
fair.
bit. They suck. All right.
Pretty boring. Vikings defense.
Vikings. Okay. PPR, James White, Giovanni Bernard, or Melvin Gordon?
Melvin Gordon.
Well, not if Lindsey plays, right?
Doesn't seem like he is, though. Does it?
Yeah, he was limited today, so
Okay.
it stinks.
Yeah, if Lindsey's out, go Melvin Gordon. If Lindsey plays,
I think I'd still go Melvin, actually.
I was gonna say, I guess Gio, but God, his ceiling is so low.
Yeah, I think that offense is just going to be a disaster.
Yeah, just go with Melvin Gordon.
All right, Melvin Gordon it is. Andrea Buffalo says, hi, everyone. Hi, Andrea. Pick
Hello.
2 running backs in a flex. Miles Sanders, James Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, David Montgomery, and Juju. Let's pick 2 running backs. Miles Sanders, James Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, David Montgomery. Whew, tough.
Robinson and Sanders.
And a flex. Taylor, Montgomery, or Juju. PPR.
Montgomery.
I guess, yeah.
Okay. From Methodful, was it dumb to trade Calvin Ridley for Allen Robinson? Chicago's playoff schedule is Detroit, Houston, Minnesota. Atlanta's is the Chargers, Bucks, and Chiefs.
I don't think either of these 2 players, when they're at their best, are guys who you really worry about matchups with.
It's been a tale of 2 halves for Calvin Ridley. I don't know if you guys have noticed that.
Yeah, basically since that foot injury.
Yeah, he's got like less than 70 yards in 4 of his last 5 games. And and a lot fewer targets. I mean, he had double-digit targets in 4 of his first 5, and he has 7, 7, 4, 9, and 9 in his last 5, and he's missed 1 game. I think it's a fine trade. I think
it's fair. I think it's close.
I like it. I'm very excited about Allen Robinson this week as well.
Yeah, it should be. All right. From the Ron WCG. Non-PPR, pick 2 running backs in a flex. Chris Carson, Myles Gaskin, and Melvin Gordon. Pick 2. Non-PPR.
Carson and Gordon.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
And then a flex. Gaskin, Parker, Debo.
Devontae Parker? It's
Yes.
Devontae.
I would only use Parker if Fitzpatrick is the quarterback. If Tua is the quarterback, I would use Debo.
Devontae all the way.
Yeah. Okay. Good debate there. I said it wasn't that hard of a week, but we're getting some tough questions today. I think this feels kind of like a week where you basically are dancing with the guys who got you there, or whatever it is. There's Booker. I think it's because it's such a bad waiver wire week. Maybe that's why.
Yes. Yeah, like it's Debo, maybe Booker if he plays. Would you like to hear a wild Debo Samuel stat?
Yeah. Is it
He had What's that? He had 133 receiving yards and 136 after the catch this week. He had his average depth of target. I think he had 8 air yards on 11 or 13 targets.
8 air yards?
8 air yards. So 8, his passes collectively traveled 8 yards past the line of scrimmage. And he had a 15-yard air yard catch.
Wow.
That means take out that one catch, which is like a little corner route on the near side of the field if you're watching. And everything was -7 yards behind the line. He's an extension of the running game.
Yeah.
That's why I think him and Ayuk probably won't take away from each other. Just because I don't think Debo Samuel has had an ADOT deeper than like 3 yards all season. It's all short stuff for him.
And it's great for PPR because he's catching in his last 3 games. He's caught something like 22 of 25 targets.
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy to catch that half-yard pop pass from Nick Mullins 4
He's
times.
got the best hands in football. He must.
That's great.
Sounds like the entire Steelers offense, man. Like that was just so rough to watch yesterday. It's
dreadful game.
I admittedly I haven't watched like every Steeler game, but look, Chase Claypool's awesome, and he can make plays on the field, and he's probably the only one that they're willing to throw like beyond 10 yards. Everything else is just like Juju and Deontay Johnson. Their receiving lines are like rushing lines for running backs. It's bad.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. I don't know if Deontay Johnson's good. I know they throw him the ball a lot, and he can be like Miami Jarvis Landry in this offense, but he's been their worst receiver by yards per target each of his 2 seasons. And like, oh yeah, he's getting a lot of short targets, so that deflates it a little bit. But Juju Smith-Schuster's ADOT is like almost half of Deontay Johnson's, and he's still ahead of him in yards per target. It's really rough.
I don't think they can win the Super Bowl with this offense.
Oh no, this is like the most fraudulent 11-0 team ever.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're good, but they just lost now a second great player on defense. They just don't have enough explosiveness, and they're not really going to have the same type of home field advantage this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're a good, not great team.
Yeah.
I think the Chiefs would probably wash them in the postseason.
Yeah, I just think you can't win with this crap. You need some explosiveness. You can't. I'm sorry. It's funny to say, okay, they're 11-0. Obviously, you can win, but it's frustrating. You're gonna have to hit some big plays at some point. All right. Should I hope that this is from Jay Haw? There's Jay Hoff. I don't know. Hope that Boyd produces or take a chance on Tim Patrick.
I would use Patrick.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. From Dre Play, if Daniel Jones does not play, Sterling Shepard or Jamal Williams in my flex. That's interesting.
I think you probably go Williams.
I would use Sterling Shepard.
Colt McCoy seems like, watching him last week, it seems like Shepard is a decent fit for him. I don't think he's going to take a lot of chances.
No, probably not.
3.1 yards per attempt. Jesus. Ugh.
Williams is getting work, but the Eagles are also really good against the run.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're hoping for more rush or passing game work than he got last week.
Yeah. Okay. From get some new ones here. Ted Danioni, would dropping Michael Pittman and Jalen Reagor for Kyle Rudolph. Oh, is it worth dropping Pittman and Reagor for Rudolph and Booker? I have wide receiver depth, but no tight end on my bench.
I mean, Booker and Rudolph, I think Rudolph, he'll be worth using as long as Irv Smith is out. But if you're not going to start him, I think you can just leave him out there. Booker is as much of a handcuff worth rostering as Madison, Pollard, the rest of those guys, except he might actually get to start this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay dropping Reagor for Booker, but I don't think you need a backup tight end. It's like that old school fantasy mindset. My dad plays like that. It's like, I have to have a backup for every position.
Does he have a kicker and a defense?
No, he doesn't. He might have a backup defense. He doesn't have a backup kicker, though.
I have a backup defense in 2 of my leagues so right now, and it feels incredibly weird. I don't like it.
It's not a bad idea this time of year. It's really not. Rudolph, I think I was more excited about him last week because Thielen was out. It's obviously better for him with Smith out, and Smith missed practice again. So I'm not expecting him to play at this point. But Smith is not like he was a huge producer. He had never had more than 5 targets in a game. But yeah, Thielen's back. And Thielen, like I said, he gets all the red zone and all the green zone targets. But it is a great matchup for Kyle Rudolph. There have been 4 tight ends who have caught a touchdown with 1 to 3 targets against the Jaguars this year. Okay, let's see. From Chow Wow, did we do this? Pick 2? No, I don't think we did. Kareem Hunt, Jonathan Taylor, not going to be McKinnon. So let's skip him. Hunt, Taylor, Montgomery, Gallman, and Mostert. Pick 2.
Montgomery and
Taylor.
All right. And Steeltown, pick 2 flexes in PPR. Did we do this one? I can't remember. Kenyon Drake, Wayne Gallman, Ayuk, James White, and David or Duke Johnson.
Okay, so David Johnson, who it does seem like he's been cleared from the concussion protocol and he's practicing, right?
I don't know if he's practicing. I know he's
Okay.
been activated.
Yeah, he's been designated to return.
Yeah.
So David Johnson, if he plays, I think it's different if it's Duke. And can you repeat? Ayuk is one of them.
Drake, Gallman, Ayuk, James White. It's PPR.
Drake and White. If David Johnson doesn't play. If David Johnson does play, Drake and Johnson.
I will go with Drake and David Johnson. Yes.
Okay. So from Loki's Earthquakes, one wide receiver and one flex in PPR. Justin Jefferson, Deontay Johnson, or Calvin Ridley. Pick one.
Oh, boy. PPR, do we know?
Yeah, PPR. Ridley for me.
Say them again.
Justin Jefferson, Deontay Johnson, and Calvin Ridley.
I almost want to go Deontay Johnson. He just gets so many targets.
You love Deontay Johnson. It's a love fest over here.
He's really good for fantasy.
Yeah.
I want to say Justin Jefferson, so we have 3 different answers.
Oh, man. Wow. Okay.
I'll go with Ridley.
Yeah, take that, Frank.
Yeah.
Boo. No, I could get behind Ridley if there's no Julio. If Julio plays, then I would like Jefferson.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, or one of the other wide receivers at flex.
Man, it's really hard to sit either Jefferson or Deontay. I think I would sit Jefferson, but he probably has more upside.
Well, wait. So, okay, no, I'm sorry. This is the same question.
Yeah.
So pick 2 basically. Calvin Ridley, and is going to be one of them, I guess. Yeah, pick 2: Jefferson, Deontay Johnson, Ridley, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That's the question.
Yeah, Ridley and Jefferson for me.
Ridley and Johnson.
Okay. Gambino wants to know Justin Herbert, Fitzpatrick, or Taysom Hill.
Herbert.
Yeah.
Clever Link wants to know McKissick, Booker, Arkers, Matassian. Dude, you got to spell better than this. Come on. McKissick, Booker, Akers, Madison.
Okay.
I need one of them.
Akers.
PPR. No, he needs 2. Sorry, he needs 2.
Oh, gosh.
Well, Booker if he starts.
Booker if he starts. If not, Akers and the first
I think
guy.
I might go Booker.
Yeah.
I mean, Booker could
Akers
get 15 carries anyway.
Yeah.
could get some garbage time in that game.
What
Akers and Booker.
Look at this poll here. What type of Twitch content are you interested in seeing? A general sports discussion, daily fantasy, gambling, or fantasy baseball? General sports discussion, running away with it. Would you guys like to have a general sports discussion?
I like sport.
How about general sports these days?
I did see there's going to be some kind of like military bowl game thing, right? Like Army, Navy, and what Air Force. They're going to like play like a little tournament or something. So like that's general sports. I mean, I don't think any of them are generals, but maybe like future general sports, I guess would be the better way to phrase it.
Frank, you strike me as someone who really loved college basketball growing up, but don't love it as much anymore.
That is, I never loved it. I was into it at some point in high school for sure. I was a huge UConn fan because I loved Kemba Walker. So watching him growing up, I was all over UConn, and then watching Shabazz Napier and Jeremy Lamb after that. So I was really into UConn basketball for a while, and the Big East. The glory days. But I have fallen off big time.
Yeah, that's what this job will do to you. Did Duke win last night? What happened there?
No idea. Didn't even know they were playing.
Michigan State beat Duke in Cameron with cardboard cutout fans. Very intimidating place to play.
We had some non-tenders in baseball yesterday. If you want to talk general sports,
Some of the biggest non-tenders in baseball.
Kyle Schwarber, David Dahl. There was
David Dahl is not a big name to anyone who does not play fantasy baseball.
Eddie Rosario was non-tender.
Eddie Rosario, what was that all about? Wow. That's
He,
a funny thing. These teams just lost so much money.
he was expected to make $9.6 million in arbitration, and over the past 2 years, he is a 2-WAR player. The same as Robbie Grossman and Ryan Braun. So
yeah.
I don't really blame the Twins for not wanting to pay him that.
I guess not. All right, well, that is our general sports discussion. Back to fantasy football. Christian or Kirk Cousins or Derek Carr. That's probably what it is from Jacob. Kirk Cousins or Derek Carr. I don't think you're starting Christian Kirk over Derek Carr.
Cousins.
Kirk Cousins.
Pick 2 wide receivers: Woods, McLaurin, Michael Thomas, or Kenny Galladay.
McLaurin and Woods.
Yes.
Over Michael Thomas, eh?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Kenny Galladay, unfortunately, doesn't look like he's going to play this week. Pick a tight end: Hawkinson, Goddard, or Ertz.
Hawkinson.
Well, if Ertz doesn't play, maybe I'll go Goddard. But I'm thinking Ertz is going to play. So.
Yeah, I think so too.
Justin Herbert.
He's activated officially. He's not just designated to return. He's activated from IR now.
Justin Herbert or Kyler Murray?
I am going to say Justin Herbert.
You gotta dance with who you came to the dance with, right?
Could be either of them. I'm going Herbert.
I mean, if you got to the dance, if you're at the dance currently, you got there with Kyler Murray this season, as good as Herbert has
go
been.
Out there and dance with a dance partner who's got a bum shoulder, and I can't twirl the person. Like, you need a shoulder for the twirls and all this stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty rough in a sling, you know. I mean,
come on.
You need both arms.
But you could do like, don't worry about it.
Like he could not even do the Macarena, Chris. How am I going to start Kyler Murray over Justin Herbert?
He couldn't do the Macarena except for the hips part.
He could do it.
He'd be good at that part.
Yeah. By the way, the Rams are incredibly good on defense. So
yes.
Yeah. I'm going Herbert. So is that 2 Herberts to 1 Murray?
I guess it's Herbert.
Hey, all right. Clean sweep.
It feels like it could make you look so dumb.
I do like Kyler as a contrarian play in DFS though.
Like Herbert was kind of a dumpster fire in the second half last week.
He's just passing so much.
Really
so
bad.
much volume.
Yeah. Delaware Allen wants to know Big Ben or Trubisky?
Benjamin.
Back to pineapples here. Non-PPR, if Julio is out, who do I start? Cole Beasley, Tyler Boyd, Sammy Watkins, Perryman, Mooney, Judy, Patrick.
Gosh. A lot of mediocre options there if Julio's out.
I can't believe I think I know who I want. I can't believe it's...
For me, it's between Cole Beasley and Perriman, but I think it's what you're looking for. So if it's any type of PPR, Beasley's probably going to be safe for like 10 points.
Non-PPR, sir.
Non-PPR. All right, I'll go with Perriman there. I think he's probably your best shot for just a long touchdown.
Yeah,
I think that's
what I was going to go with. Well, we're all going Perriman. All right.
Yikes.
Robert Woods from Ryan Geek 101. Robert Woods or Devontae Parker?
Oh, Woods.
Parker if Fitzmagic is the quarterback. If not, then Woods.
Robert Woods has 5 games this year with fewer than 40 yards. Not quite sure why we're just so... Yeah, Woods.
I mean, he's still like a top 15 wide receiver for fantasy, right?
No, Chris. He's top 12.
Well,
Yeah,
then that
Chris.
makes my case even better.
He scores a lot.
It's also a good matchup. The Cardinals have given up 9 touchdowns to wide receivers over their last 5 games.
Yeah, and they like you might be worried like the matchup against Patrick Peterson because Cooper Kupp plays more in the slot, but they manufacture so many touches for Robert Woods in so many different ways that I don't think you worry so much about the matchup with him.
And they basically use Woods and Kupp evenly in the slot now. They just move everybody all over the place. And that's basically what they've done with McVay. I remember when Cooks was there, they would just shuffle everyone all around the field and stuff. So they've continued to do that.
33, King David 33. Should I pick up Perryman or Shepard off of waivers?
Perriman.
Yes.
From the 22-ounce tall can. Can I trust Josh Allen's fantasy playoff schedule? And the Colts have the best colors in the NFL. Are you kidding? They have one color, first of all. They have one color. White is like every team has white somewhere.
They have one color and the absence of color.
Yeah.
That sounds like an Azer take if I've ever heard one.
It's a classic look. I'm kind of done with blue for a sports team. Like, can we not have every sports team wear blue?
And light blue is even worse than dark blue. Light blue is so boring.
No, I think dark blue with like gray and stripes is probably the worst.
Oh, that's a Yankee jab?
Yeah.
I was gonna say this is probably an unpopular take, and anyone who likes me because I'm a Yankee fan, there's probably no one out there. But man, I am so tired of the Yankees jerseys. So I'm with you, Chris.
What?
I know
I
classic,
only
traditional, but I just they're they're never gonna change either. At least these other teams, like oh well, they're gonna bring back some throwbacks at some point, and they get crazy with new kinds of jerseys. The Yankees will never ever do.
I only like the Yankees in their classic red.
What?
It's a little Limp Bizkit reference for you, Frank. You were a little young for that one. You might have missed the chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water.
Fred Durst.
There you go. Yeah, can you trust Josh Allen's playoff schedule? Sorry, that was some general sports talk. Pittsburgh, at Denver, at New England. I will not start him in Week 14 against Pittsburgh if there's a better streamer.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm not overly worried about at Denver or at New England.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. Yeah, he didn't have a terrible game against Pittsburgh last season. He only threw for 139 yards, but he had a touchdown. He had a rushing touchdown, 28 rushing yards. So that's probably close to 20-ish fantasy points, right?
Yeah, well, I want more than that. I want more than that, man.
It's like 18.
From the last OG, Saints or Ravens DST rest of season, I have a first round bye. Well, that means the Saints, your first game with them is going to be against the Chiefs, I believe, right? Week 15.
Yeah. Depends on when the playoffs start.
Assuming they start next week.
Yeah.
So then you don't.
Oh, yeah, that would, yeah.
What was the
Ravens.
other? Ravens? Who do they have in Week 15?
They have, Ravens. They have the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, and then they have
the Jaguars and the Giants in weeks 15 and 16. Yeah, okay. Definitely the Ravens.
Slam dunk Baltimore.
Yeah.
From Crazy Bay, not going to say the rest. Trying to get DK Metcalf. Should I give Lockett and Gaskin / David Johnson?
Yeah.
You can try. It's probably not going to happen.
Although I will say, Metcalf has not been the consistent wide receiver one that he was early on in the season. He hasn't hit on the big plays as consistently over the last, I think it's 6 games. He has 3 with over 20 and 3 with under 10.
But there's been a common factor, right? It's been Jalen Ramsey and Patrick Peterson. When he hasn't faced those guys, he's been 90 yards every game. I think, right? It's Arizona, Rams, and Arizona. Yeah, three bad games there. And he will get the Rams in week 16. That is going to be such an interesting call. Nobody's going to sit him, but
you can't. I mean, you can't because he's the kind of guy
against the Rams last time.
He's the best version of that Adam Thielen, Tyler Lockett. If you need anyone to hit on one big play to make their fantasy game, DK Metcalf playing with Russell Wilson would be that guy.
Frank's leaving us in 2 minutes. Frank, no football tonight. What are you watching tonight? What are you doing tonight?
Oh, gosh. It is a buddy of mine's birthday, so we will be spending it together.
Aww.
Being careful. But, yeah, we're going to order some food. I don't know what we're going to watch because there's no football, so we'll figure it out.
There are general sports on tonight.
Are there? I don't know anything outside of
that's not really. That doesn't count.
What's on tonight?
College basketball's on.
Yeah. I told you it's over for college basketball, Adam.
Might as well watch some TV.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch a little TV. I finished The Undoing, by the way.
Good.
Adam, what's the next show that I watch? I watched
The Undoing.
The Haunting of Bly Manor per your request.
The Undoing. Watch it tonight. It's
The Mandalorian.
Awesome. It's only 6 episodes.
The Mandalorian.
We can do a Twitch poll. I don't know if we want to think of another. No, the
Mandalorian's going to run away with it.
It's a commitment. It's like 7 seasons. I don't know. I'm just making that up. But it's a mini series, The Undoing. I recommend it to everybody. 6 episodes. Who done it? Great murder mystery. Great acting. Everybody in the show cannot maintain their American accent.
I love that.
Very annoying.
Adam,
it's great.
Who done it though?
I'll tell you at 5:30. At the very. No, I'm not going to tell you.
I have a bunch.
I actually know
shows,
who done it.
I have a bunch of shows written down in my notes here.
Okay.
I have a note. I just throw a bunch of random stuff in my notepad.
Okay.
But Ozark, Watchmen, Mandalorian.
Oh my God, Watchmen is Watchmen.
No,
it's the best. It's the best season. It's the best season of television ever made.
That's how I felt about
Watchmen.
Ozark is the one you have to watch.
Watchmen.
Which
100%. It's one season and it is perfect. It is so good.
I also have Parks and Rec on here. I have The Boys. I have The Wire. Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Shield.
You really haven't seen anything, man.
I've
Parks and Rec?
seen the big ones. I've watched Breaking Bad. I finished The Sopranos recently.
Parks and Rec is delightful.
Yeah.
After season 1, you can kind of
Go watch Ozark. Watch Ozark.
Watchmen.
I'm
Read the graphic novel and watch Watchmen.
All right,
Watchmen the TV show is a sequel to the graphic novel.
Go have fun, man. Go have a great Thursday night.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
Back at it here with Fantasy Football Talk. If you're watching on Twitch Sports, come over to the FF Today channel. Ask us your questions. Current poll, what should Frank watch? The Mandalorian or what? You didn't even put Ozark. You didn't put any of my suggestions up.
Oh, man.
He's
got to watch Watchmen.
That is so insulting. Like, this is just comic book nerd stuff, Mandalorian and Watchmen.
And I will just say, when you are famous for obviously hosting one of the most successful fantasy football podcasts in the world, and also for your awful takes on every topic, that happens. You know, you get left out of the poll.
I guess so. But I haven't named any shows that aren't great. I mean, you didn't watch I forget it.
No, I don't watch. I only watch cartoons and comedies.
This is from Neil. Debo or Jacoby Myers, half PPR?
Debo.
From Andrea again. Ridley, Brandon Cooks, or Juju, PPR?
You can only start one?
Yeah.
It's down to Cooks and Ridley. I think it's got to be Ridley.
Yeah, let's go with Ridley. Yeah, Donald Biden says Ozark is far superior to Watchmen. A little bit of love for Watchmen. People like it. People like Watchmen. Okay.
Ozark would have been a distant third place here.
Behind what?
I want you to know. Watchmen and Mandalorian.
Twitch Sports recommends The Queen's Gambit. I've never heard of that.
That's everybody. That was like last week's topic on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
That was the prompt that everyone got.
My empty pockets. I have Ertz and Jonnu Smith. Should I drop one of them for Andrews? Yes.
Yes.
Jonnu, right?
Yeah, drop Jonnu.
From P Dubbo side, I've got 2 running back spots open in a non-PPR league. I think that means start 2 running backs.
Mm-hmm.
So sit 1, non-PPR. Montgomery, Eckler, Mostert.
Non-PPR, Montgomery, Eckler, or Mostert. I think I would, even in PPR, even though PPR is Mostert's best, or non-PPR is Mostert's better format and Eckler's worst, I would sit Mostert.
Mostert appears to be the one player I feel like that has shown up the most in these questions.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. He's a good RB2.
Yeah, he looked like a must-start potential RB1 before the injury. He's gotten injured twice. Both of them have been pretty serious, and you don't know what the role's going to be.
From Alvarad 11. I lost Will Fuller. I'm thinking about dropping Crowder. Should I pick up Marquise Brown, Nelson Aguilar, or Jarvis Landry?
Landry for sure. I think Landry is a pretty close to must-start wide receiver.
Steeltown 1976 binged the entire season of Undoing today. That's great. Good for you.
My wife did that in one day, I think.
Yeah, that's like 6 to 7 hours. So that's good commitment there. I really miss those days. I want to binge a show so badly. Okay, from Gambino again. Need 2 in PPR. Edwards-Helaire, Sanders, Fournette, and Taylor. It's not going to be Fournette. He's on a bye and he stinks. Edwards-Helaire, Sanders, and Taylor. Pick 2.
Sanders and I think Taylor.
Rank these 3 quarterbacks: Goff, Baker, Trubisky, rest of season.
Oh, rest of season.
And throw Tua in there too.
I don't think any of them are guys who you think about rest of season. I think they're all matchup guys, but I would rank them Goff, Tua, Mayfield, and Trubisky.
Here's a good question from Ryan Geek. Do you trust Ronald Jones in the fantasy playoffs? Let's go ahead and get those matchups.
I mean, trust? Absolutely not. I don't care who the matchups are. There's no way you can trust him. I know Bruce Arians said he needs to get him 20 touches per game moving forward, but he also called him his starter last year. And then I think the next game or the following game benched him for missing a single blitz pickup. This is, if he messes up once, well, he did have that huge game where he had the 98-yard touchdown run, and that was after a fumble. So it's not necessarily he messes up once and he loses his job, but I still think he has a very slim margin for error. And I don't know, maybe the Buccaneers will stop using Fournette in passing situations exclusively, and that'll change things. But I don't know. You can't trust him. You start him, but you don't feel good about it. He's like the running back version of the Lockett, Marquise Brown, Thielen guys. And you're just, you're hoping for a big game, but you can't trust him.
Yeah, okay, I guess so. But he doesn't need
he doesn't need a huge play.
You don't know who's going to be the goal line back either. That's what's so frustrating.
I mean, this is why this whole situation is frustrating, and it never made sense from the beginning to me, because it's not like neither Fournette or Jones are good passing downs back from what you want from, especially in the Tom Brady offense. Like, they're not a guy who you dump it to and then they turn around and make guys miss. They get ahead of steam going and they can run guys over, but this isn't a natural fit. There's no obvious, like, you have this role, you have this role. It's just kind of, it's a zero-sum game between the two of them. What?
Got a producer, Jamie, saying that Ozark is trash, and that's why he didn't put it in the Twitch. Idiot.
I mean, that's what happens when you got power.
I guess so. From General 27, I need a flex. Damian Harris, Sterling Shepard, Rashad Perryman, and Jacoby Myers. Half PPR. Damian Harris, Sterling Shepard, Perryman, and Jacoby Myers.
I think I would go Harris and Perryman.
Okay, Harris and Perryman. How about from Andy? Should I bench DeAndre Hopkins going up against Jalen Ramsey?
No, you never bench DeAndre Hopkins in any circumstance. It doesn't matter. I don't know what he did. They haven't played Los Angeles yet, have they?
No, they have not.
This is their first game against them. But no, DeAndre Hopkins, you can't bench in any circumstance. I don't know. He had a bad game against Miami. They've got good corners, but I don't know. No, you don't do it. Dance with who you came to the dance with.
No, it just is worth pointing out with Hopkins that he's got a Hail Murray, and that's basically been it in the last 4 weeks. He's been pretty bad other than that. Now, if you take away that play, he still had like 6 catches for about 80 yards against Buffalo, but 30 yards, 51 yards, 55 yards. Those are his yards, no touchdowns in the other 3 games in that 4-game stretch. So I don't know that he's a complete must. No, he is. I'm starting. It's DeAndre Hopkins.
I mean, he's a top 5 wide receiver.
Yeah. Circumstances are a little bit different now, but
I don't know. Sometimes production fluctuates, and it's hard to tell when that is a trend and when it's just random. And right now, because Kyler Murray's hurt, you can say maybe it's a trend.
That's the thing.
But I don't know. His role has changed a little bit. They're not doing, early on in the season, it wasn't quite Deebo Samuel, but it was a little Juju Smith-Schuster where it was just a ton of short stuff. And so maybe they, dial that back into the game plan to manufacture some offense. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that.
All right, let's pick it up a little bit here. Make sure we get some questions here from Chubb Hunt Jacobs, who, by the way, did not practice. Jacobs and Aguilar did not practice for the Raiders.
It is their first day of practice this week because they play on Monday, right?
No. Monday. No, they missed practice yesterday too.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't think they have the Monday game.
That sounds right. No, you're right.
Monday games. All right, so
so he's missed 2 days of practice. That's bad.
Yeah. No, it's serious here. Definitely need to get Devontae Booker, people. Chubb, Hunt, Jacobs, Dobbins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Pick 2. Chubb for sure.
Yeah, I think it's Chubb, and if Jacobs plays, it's him. If not, I think I would roll the dice on Dobbins.
Okay, and pick 2 wide receivers. Calvin Ridley, A.J. Brown, Tyler Lockett.
Sit Lockett.
Let's see, I read that one. Is Darrington Evans a good handcuff? He's in the 21-day IR active time. No, I don't think he is.
I don't know that he's the handcuff. Deontay Foreman is the guy who would seem to have the Derrick Henry skill set. Darrington Evans is. They were talking about him more as like a Alvin Kamara type. So he's the Jeremy McNichols handcuff.
Jordan Reed or Evan Ingram this week?
Evan Ingram.
Man, I'm nervous about.
Of course you are.
I mean, it could be 150 yards for Colt McCoy.
Sure.
Yeah. This is from the Earthquakes guy again, or girl. Rudolph or Hooper?
If Irv Smith is out, I think I would go Rudolph.
Big Ben, Goff, Cousins, or Ryan?
I think I would go Cousins over Ben. I think those would be the top two.
One of them. Okay.
The concern is like Cousins might only throw 20 times, and he might have 300 air yards on those 20 passes. And Ben Roethlisberger might throw 50 times and only have 200 air yards on those 50 passes. They're kind of on extreme ends of that spectrum.
I know this is a far ways out, but do you think James Robinson would be a valid keeper next year?
I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be. Maybe they bring in another running back, but he's looked so good and they've trusted him so thoroughly. The only concern, I guess, would be like new coaching staff, new GM isn't invested in him, but it's found money, keep it. Like running backs, you don't need to invest in them. You found a good one for free. You're paying him nothing. I would think they would keep running with him.
Probably, yeah. Brandon Ayuk or Mike Williams?
I would go with Mike Williams.
From JWO, start 2 in PPR. Montgomery, Carson, Drake.
I would go Montgomery and Carson.
Ayuk or Landry, rest of season from Seacrest. Rest of season PPR? PPR. Ayuk or Landry? It's not that funny, Chris.
Jarvis Landry.
Over Ayuk? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Here's a question from... Hold on 1 second, please. Where is it? Oh, from Andy Painter. Thoughts on Gallman? What are your thoughts on Gallman?
Is that a thing? Is that a bit? Are you doing a thing?
What? You don't know the Gallman bit?
What is it from?
It's from Fantasy Football Today.
Oh no, I don't listen to that show.
And
only the Monday episodes.
Oh yeah, right, exactly.
I must have missed that bit.
I do it every day.
Can you do a Perryman bit, but it's like a Chandler Bing drop?
No, but the one I did was we did this one, right? Who's that wide receiver that ruins all of your delicious fruit? Pitman. Thank you. I knew you'd like that one. No, Gallman is the superhero that's just like a total jerk and has no social etiquette. Basically.
Okay, so what was the question?
Thoughts on Gallman? I don't like.
It's a bad situation. It's a bad offense, and he's been really touchdown dependent. You can't rely on 6 touchdowns in 5 games or whatever it's been.
Yeah.
Once that pace slows down, I think he's a flex.
Yeah, I mean the only thing is like the Seahawks run defense is legit, but they do give up a lot of rushing touchdowns. But I'm just looking at their game log here. In week 7, Chase Edmonds had 5 carries for 58 yards. 1, 2, 3. That's 6 games. He's the only running back with more than 38 rushing yards, and he had 58 on 5 carries. He had a good game. Nobody else is having a good game against this team.
Yeah.
Malcolm Brown scored twice. Darrell Henderson scored once. Kenyon Drake scored. So they give up touchdowns.
Yeah, but you got to get close.
Yeah.
And the Giants offense, I don't trust them to get into the end zone. Like, I think if they do get close to the goal line, Gallman is probably going to get multiple opportunities because it's Colt McCoy at center. So they would just feed Gallman. It's just, I don't know how good you can feel about the chances of Gallman getting, multiple goal line carries. I think that offense could be really bad.
Yeah, if he gets multiple goal line carries, it's probably going to be like last week when I think he got 4 in a row on first, second, third, and fourth down. And he finally got in. All right, time for some more questions here. We have 15 minutes left. From Marinucci, who would you rather have on your bench, Benny Snell or Devontae Booker?
I think Devontae Booker, actually. I think there's what we saw last year when Josh Jacobs went out was all of a sudden this team that uses a timeshare at running back gave DeAndre Washington 18 carries and 6.5 targets per game, I think, in the 3 starts that he had. So I'm expecting something similar from Booker.
Yeah, it's really just a question of who do you think is going to miss time, more likely to, and I'd have to give the edge there to.
I mean, they're both currently out.
Yeah, but Jacobs is banged up, and he's always banged up. Not to say Connor is a model of football health, but yeah. From 100 Hand Slap. You guys worried about DeAndre Swift not looking right? Adrian Peterson is out there in my league. Is he a top priority?
No, I don't think Adrian Peterson's a top priority. Even if we learned Swift was out for the season, I don't think Peterson would be a top priority. I would rather have Frank Gore than Adrian Peterson. Hot take.
Yeah, but I'm going to say that if they play, it's a concussion, right? If he's been kind of not himself, low energy, they're not bringing him back unless he's safe, right?
Sure.
Unless you can't do that to the guy.
Sure, yeah.
So
no,
if
I
they
agree with
play
that.
him, I feel like he's got to be healthy enough for them to play.
I don't think it's more about not thinking Peterson is particularly interesting. He has a few games where he'll catch some passes, but for the most part, you're hoping for a touchdown, and that's a bad offense. I just don't see it there. I actually think Frank Gore, because he has a little bit more of a passing game role, is a more interesting option than Adrian Peterson.
We haven't had one Frank Gore question. He can't be ruled out. He's possibly an RB2 this week. And I'll just say this about Peterson. If Akeem Hicks is out for the Bears, and I know he did not practice yesterday, I don't have a report on him today, then you have a possibility for a decent game there. All right, let's pick 2 from Grand P807. Sterling Shepard, Allen Lazard, T. Higgins. Pick 2, Sterling Shepard, Lazard, Higgins.
Man.
Yep.
Lazard and I guess Shepard. I think it's more likely Higgins gets Xavier Howard this week.
Okay. From Yawgmoth, pick 2 wide receivers. Robert Woods, this is half PPR. Robert Woods, Devontae Parker, Justin Jefferson. Who are you sitting there?
Parker.
Texas Bruins 67, 4-point per passing touchdown league. Josh Allen or Justin Herbert?
I would go with Herbert.
This is from Neil 9. Non-PPR. I do not have Fuller, McCaffrey, or Julio Jones this week. You might have Julio Jones, but probably not. So sit 2 out of these guys. Myles Gaskin, Damian Harris, Adrian Peterson, J.K. Dobbins. And he says J.K. or Gus Edwards, so I'm guessing it's only like the starting Ravens running back.
It'll be Dobbins, and I think you're sitting Peterson, and who are the other options?
Gaskin, Harris. I mean, I'd start Harris.
I think I would sit Gaskin just because you don't know what the role is going to be if he does come back, which is not guaranteed.
And instead of Will Fuller, should I get the likes of Pittman, Ayuk, Aguilar, or Watkins?
I think Ayuk is the most interesting of that group.
Brandon Ayuk or Mike Williams this week in PPR?
Mike Williams.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't know what Ayuk's role is going to be with Samuel back. I would expect it will be pretty good. But I always like starting Mike Williams if I get the opportunity because, the potential for a big game is always there.
From SoCal 27, do you need backups for Travis Kelce and Tom Brady for weeks 15 and 16? Okay, no for Kelce.
Because of matchups?
I don't know. I don't care. For Brady, weeks 15 and 16 are at Atlanta and at Detroit. So no.
Yeah, no.
Atlanta's defense has been a lot better. But I would not say you need.
And I don't know if Brady's a must-start quarterback at this point. It's possible you may have a better option out there for one of those 2 weeks. it's not a priority to go get one. If somebody is there with a great Week 15 matchup, then it's fine to add them.
Dropping Jonnu Smith. Should I go with Robert Tonyan or Trey Burton rest of season?
I think it's got to be Tonyan.
From Corey, who is your biggest disappointment in fantasy this year?
Biggest disappointment in fantasy this year.
I got one.
Not counting injuries, I guess. Man, the first couple of rounds were pretty good, not counting injuries.
For me, it's Marquise Brown. Or
sure, that's fair.
Lamar Jackson, but I love sophomore receivers. I think they break out now. That's what they do. And the only two that haven't really that matter are him and Slayton. And Slayton has been interesting. He's been playing hurt. He's been really close on a few big plays that just haven't happened. But Marquise Brown's been horrible.
Marquise Brown has also been very, like, he was early in the season, especially. He had a really valuable role in that offense. He was getting like 27, 28% of the targets the first 5 weeks. It was all downfield stuff. And it was just like, if he just hits on one, we're going to feel so much better on him. And it just never happened. I didn't think about Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is the obvious answer. He's been a decent fantasy option, but you could have done better than him streaming this year, which is incredible to say.
From SoCal 27 PPR, Tevin Coleman, Philip Lindsay, or Devin Singletary during the playoffs. Look, I'm not really qualified to do these during the playoff things. I can't remember all the schedules.
Yeah, I think.
Chris, is there a chance that Melvin Gordon gets suspended before the year's over? Because his court date is like next week.
It's possible, but I feel like those always get pushed back when they're in season. We'll see. It's certainly possible. But I would think it's probably Singletary. But Lindsay has the most upside of that three.
From MD Brennan 535, I've mismanaged my roster and I need help. I have only one startable wide receiver this weekend. It's T. Higgins. But there are some players on the waiver wire. Among the nominees, T.Y. Hilton, Sterling Shepard, Cole Beasley, Sammy Watkins, and Brashad Perryman. Pick two.
Perryman, and I would go with Cole Beasley among those two.
Yeah. I need a starter in PPR. This is from Alvarad. Cam Akers, Naeem Hines, or Devontae Booker. It's obviously Booker if Jacobs is out, but if Jacobs is in, Chris, Akers, Hines, or Booker?
I think you probably lean Hines.
Yeah, I think Heath has Hines 14th in PPR, and he's got a great matchup against a team that gives up a ton of receiving yards to running backs.
Yep.
From CJ Goodwin, pick two in PPR, Gibson, Woods, Sanders, and Godwin, who's on a bye. Gibson, Woods, or Sanders? Pick two.
I think you sit Woods there.
From J4GGZ, I need to start two in PPR. Cole Beasley, Juju Smith-Schuster, MVS, and DJ Chark.
Oh, man. I guess I have to go Shark and
Juju, right?
Juju. Yeah, Shark and Juju.
From SD Joe Hamilton, is Kiki QT going to be seeing more targets in Houston with Will Fuller out? Is he worth a pickup?
Yes, he's going to see more targets, but I don't know. I know Jamie is interested in Kiki QT, and he's always liked him, but we're 2.5 years into his career. He's never made any kind of impact outside of, I think, one playoff game, basically. And he wasn't even getting on the field for the first. I think he was inactive for 9 of the first 11 games or 8 of the first 11 games, something like that. I don't have high hopes. I think if you're in a deep league and you want to speculate on someone in that offense, I think Isaiah Coulter is someone to look at. He's a rookie. He's 6'2", ran like a 4.45 40. I think he's probably more interesting, but one guy we haven't heard about from tight end is Jordan Akins. Yeah. I think he's going to have a bigger role in this offense and could be a starting tight end for the rest of the season.
Jamie is probably just kind of interesting from a stash standpoint, interested in it from a stash standpoint, because he's got QT like 40th. So yeah, worth stashing perhaps. That's very vague. Didn't really help. Texas Bruin 67. Who's a better ad? Debo Samuel, Kiki QT, or Alan Lazard? There you go. That's a good question.
Debo Samuel, Kiki QT, or Alan Lazard? Who's a better stash?
Yeah.
Debo. I would rank it Debo, little gap, Lazard, big gap, QT.
By the way, the Raiders are bringing in Spencer Ware.
It's a bad sign for Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs is probably not playing.
Well, is Spencer Ware currently on their practice squad?
I don't know. Ben Trager was the one who broke this news to me. I don't.
Yeah, because that if he's not on their practice squad, then it doesn't matter because he wouldn't be able to play this week anyway.
True.
So, but maybe they're planning on calling up whoever they had on the practice squad and having Spencer Ware replace them. I don't know.
I spent all my fab in one league on Devontae Booker.
I was able to sneak him through for like $7 in one league. So
yeah, I got him for 12. I do not have one fab league where I have a lot of fab left. I spent, and this year's been nuts. You've had to do it, I think.
Yeah, I've got that one league that I was tanking, or I started out 0-4 with 3 close losses. So I traded my whole roster in a keeper league, and now I'm currently in the 8th spot for the playoffs. That's the only one I have a lot of fab left. And like looking back, I probably should have spent more of it early on, but them's the breaks.
And them's the breaks. All right, let's go rapid fire here for the last few minutes. From R. Kim, should I trade Aaron Rodgers, Chris Carson, and Deontay Johnson for Kyler Murray, Austin Eckler, and Devontae Parker?
So Chris Carson.
It's Rodgers, Carson, and Deontay Johnson for Kyler Murray, Austin Eckler, and Devontae Parker.
Running back's the only spot that you're definitely improving in. So I don't think I would do that.
Yeah. Fully healthy, great Kyler, yeah, but with uncertainty, no. Should I drop Pittman or Higgins for Ayuk?
Either one, yeah. I would drop Pittman first.
And Pony Boy, pick one. Robert Woods, Amari Cooper, or Miles Sanders, PPR?
Pick one?
Yeah.
Miles Sanders. Stay golden.
Yeah. Stay gold or stay golden?
Isn't it stay golden?
I think it's stay gold.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I've never seen or read that thing that's from.
It's from The Outsiders. I actually have seen and read that thing. And I don't read a lot of books, folks, so that's saying something. From Dark Matter, Mike Gesicki or Austin Hooper this week?
Mike Gesicki or Austin Hooper.
I think I'll go Gesicki if Fitzpatrick plays and Hooper if it's Tua.
Sure.
Pick 2, Gibson, Woods, Sanders. Oh, we already did this one. Chris said sit Woods. Yes. SoCal says biggest disappointment this year is the entire Dallas offense. That's not really fair. That's not what we were going for. Because they were crushing it. They were the best.
Yeah, they were like we were talking about Zeke or Kamara as the best player in fantasy when Dak Prescott was healthy.
Right.
And even like Gallup, Lamb, Cooper, and Dalton Schultz were all starting caliber players before Dak's injury.
Gallup, Lamb. Yes. Sounds like there's some type of funny animal joke to be made there. And it is stay gold, Pony Boy. Thank you, Brennan.
It is. I only know the reference from like other people saying it, or there's a Get Up Kids song.
No, but there's also the Newfound Glory song that has that line at the beginning.
Oh yeah, it's at the beginning of like the first version of Hit or Miss.
Hit or Miss. That's what it's called. Hit or Miss. Good job.
Yes, off of the album Nothing Gold Can Stay.
Oh, really?
I believe so.
Oh, how about that? Newfound Glory, Coral Springs, Florida. My hometown.
954 in the house.
All right. Mike Williams, Christian Kirk, or Perryman, half PPR?
Sorry, repeat that.
Mike Williams, Christian Kirk, or Perryman, half PPR?
Mike Williams.
Wilson, Hill, or Cousins? Wilson. Pick 3 of these 6. Gibson, Edwards-Helaire, Mostert, Drake, Taylor, Dobbins. It's PPR. Gibson, Edwards-Helaire, Mostert, Drake, Taylor, Dobbins.
Gibson, Taylor, and Drake.
Mostert, Drake, Dobbins, Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, I would go Drake.
Okay. Last question. Corey Davis, DJ Chark, or Cole Beasley?
Man, I'm going to start DJ Chark. I don't feel good about it. We haven't seen him with Mike Glennon. Also, Mike Glennon is Mike Glennon. But he's the only one who's a number one wide receiver among that group. So I'll go with him and hope that Glennon looks for him first of all, and that the combination works.
Chris is wrong.
Okay.
I'm getting the last word. It's Corey Davis.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
No Denzel Ward. No Ronnie Harrison. That's 2 starters in the secondary out.
Okay.
Big day. You were wrong, Chris.
All right.
Yeah. You don't think he's so offended by it? Relax.
That's fine.
Just twitch. Well, thank you for tuning in, everybody, for this general sports discussion. For Frank Stanfill, Chris Towers, Jamie Mazauskas, Ben Schrager, I am Adam Azer. We will see you 4 p.m. Eastern for the home team watch party presented by Lowe's, watching the Packers and the Eagles with Brian Westbrook and Jordy Nelson. And before that, noon Eastern, starter sit right here on Twitch. So thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Have a great Thursday night. Go watch The Undoing. Talk to you Sunday.